Emma's footsteps echoed through the cavernous halls of Blackwood Library as she made her final rounds for the night. The antique chandeliers cast long, flickering shadows across rows of weathered bookshelves, their dancing light seeming to breathe life into the dusty tomes that lined them. As a newly appointed librarian, Emma found herself both thrilled and unnerved by the library's imposing Gothic architecture and labyrinthine layout. The building itself seemed to hold secrets, with its winding staircases and hidden alcoves that appeared and disappeared in the dim light. Just as she was about to turn off the main lights, the heavy oak doors creaked open. Emma's heart leapt into her throat before she recognized the familiar figure of Professor David Hartley, a regular visitor researching local legends. "Professor Hartley," Emma called out, her voice carrying an edge of relief. "I was just about to close up." As David explained his findings, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The professor's typically skeptical demeanor had given way to a barely concealed anxiety as he described a series of unexplained events and whispered rumors surrounding the library's dark history. Over the next few weeks, Emma and David delved deeper into the mystery. They pored over ancient texts, deciphering cryptic references to a long-forgotten collection hidden within the library's walls. As they worked late into the night, strange occurrences became more frequent and harder to ignore. One evening, as Emma reshelved a particularly heavy tome, she noticed a slight give in the bookcase. Her heart racing, she pushed harder, revealing a hidden door leading to a secret chamber. The air inside was thick with dust and the musty scent of ancient parchment. "David!" The professor rushed over, his eyes widening as he took in the scene. Rows of shelves lined the walls, filled with books bound in materials that made Emma's skin crawl. In the center of the room stood a pedestal upon which rested an ornate, leather-bound volume. As they approached the book, Emma felt a familiar whisper in her mind. The voices that had haunted her for weeks now spoke in unison, urging her to open the tome. With shaking hands, she reached out. The moment her fingers touched the cover, a surge of energy coursed through her body. Images flooded her mind, generations of librarians protecting dark secrets, rituals performed in the dead of night, and a malevolent presence that had been trapped within the library's very foundations. Emma staggered back, gasping for air. I remember, she whispered, her eyes wide with shock. "My grandmother was the head librarian here. She showed me this place when I was a child, made me promise to keep the secret." She turned to David, her eyes now dark and unfathomable. "They've been waiting for me," she said, her voice unnaturally calm, "and now they're free." As Emma spoke those words, the candles flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. David fumbled for his phone, its weak light barely penetrating the oppressive blackness. When he finally managed to illuminate Emma's face, he recoiled in horror. Her features had twisted into something inhuman, her mouth stretched wide in a rictus grin. All around them, books began to fly from the shelves, their pages rustling with whispered secrets and forbidden knowledge. David turned and ran, his heart pounding in his chest. He burst through the library's main doors, gasping for air in the cool night. Behind him, Blackwood Library stood silent and dark, its windows now opaque with shadows that seemed to writhe and pulse with malevolent life. As he stared at the imposing structure, David couldn't shake the feeling that something ancient and terrible had awakened. And somewhere within those whispering shelves, Emma waited. No longer the curious librarian he had known, but a guardian of dark secrets that should never have been unleashed. Is this the end? Or is it just the beginning?